broke down on his motorcycle yesterday. His first day back at work, so the week did not start off very well. So I had to stop what I was doing, go pick him up, drop him off at his truck, and he had to have the bike towed. I'll let him put in another video all about those details, but today, the reason I have to take a road trip, I need to go back to the ridge. I am going to White Rock Homestead because I need to pick up our trailer so that we can go pick up the motorcycle. Right now it's at the tow shop, and the guy was nice enough to say that he would hold it for a week so that we'd be able to go get it. So I thought I'd bring you guys along and share a little bit of the adventure. Alright, keep in mind, this is the first time I've ever hooked up the trailer or even drove the trailer behind the back of a truck. So keep your fingers crossed, wish me luck, and let's see what happens. I have made it to the ridge. So now it's just a matter of getting this trailer hooked up and being on my way. Let's see how that's gonna work.
Rode out the morning on the saddle of my porch. Some leaves are still green, yet some other ones got scorched. I didn't think that things could ever feel this forward. Just took a drink and let the evening cut the cord. It's a blue day. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it feels like they sneak up from behind, and if they do stay, it toughens up my mind just like a huge wave on a greater pond. The minutes are a symbol of my impatience, waiting for someone to convince me.
Alright, I had to do a little banging, but I finally got the hitch on, and now we're gonna thread the pin through and get this all locked in together.
Leading actions, hoping something changes them.
Here we go.
Every direction seems to go against the wind. It's a blue day. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it feels like they sneak up from behind, and if they do stay, it purifies my mind just like a cool wave on a raging tide.
Alright guys, seems like it's hooked up. Chains, lights, and the hitch is pretty secure. All I need to do is go around the trailer now and make sure that these pins right here are secure for the tailgate. So let's check the other side. Oh, that one's on there. Okay, so the next thing is my tires look good, but I need to pull the chucks out. Ow, that's hot. Okay. Oh, I might have to back over that one. Okay. All right, everything looks good. I think I'm ready to roll down the road. But before I do that, I need to head into the tiny house, use the bathroom, look for my charger for my batteries. I think I left it here the other day. And Tara also left me some sourdough starter. So I'm gonna go check that out. Alright, so I pulled it to the top of the driveway and everything seems okay. The trailer looks good back there. If you guys can see that. Everything seems good. So I think I'm all set. I made a bathroom stop. I got my sourdough. Said hi to Charlie. Can't say hi to Tara and Jason because they're in Tennessee right now. I miss them, but I'm glad she's gonna be able to spend some time with Dad. That's important to her. All right, guys, take a look at this beautiful view we have. This is right at the top of their driveway. All right, so I'm gonna make the turn. And I will probably see you guys when I get back to the homestead because I don't want to do much filming while I'm driving, especially with the trailer on the back. today because it's what, let's see, about 1:30 and it's already 100 degrees outside. It feels like 110. So they said it could get up to 115. So I'm going to try to do as much as I can in here and then later on go and do a harvest for the market tomorrow. So what I have going on is I have a woman who at the market, she's one of my regular faithful customers. She comes usually on every Saturday and every Wednesday to buy stuff, not just for me but other vendors too. But she tends to get eggs and buys my jellies and jams and relishes. But one thing that she really liked is my homemade chipotle powder. Now Eric made this last year and it came out amazing. Very, very spicy and hot, and that's what they're looking for. So chipotle powder. Basically, we smoked our jalapenos and made sure that they were nice and crispy, and then we put them in a blender till they become a powder, and then we just jar it up. And she's looking for a new jar this year, so I am working on that. I've already done about 50 jalapenos in here, which is just about almost half a jar. So down here in this bowl, I have the rest of my jalapenos. So I'm gonna get those in the blender and we're gonna get those blended up. And it takes quite a while. I have to let it run for a bit so that it gets to the powder stage, because I just take off the stems and I leave all the seeds in there. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I've been trying to dehydrate a lot of my herbs. Like I did oregano the other day, and I've already put that in a jar. And in the dehydrator now, I have sweet thyme mint. All right, so let's get blending. Alright guys, now that that has blended up for a while, I am going to take the cover off and check it. But before I do that, I actually need to put this mask on, because I already can smell it. It's already getting into my nose and making my eyes water. And it's pretty strong. So when you take off the cover, you're really going to be able to, well, I'm really going to be able to smell it. And it does make you cough. All right. Oh. All right. So I can see that it's turned to a powder in there. But I still, okay, let me put this cover back on. Alright, I can see that it's turned to a powder, but there's still some little pieces in there, so I'm going to turn it back on and let it blend for a little bit longer, because I really do want it mostly powder. I don't want any of those little pieces in there. Alright, so before I take this cover off again, I have to put my mask back on, because the smell is already getting to me and it's already in my nose. So it's making my nose run. I just wanted to show you guys, because the funnel that I have is a canning funnel. It fits over the spout of the jar and it doesn't fit all the way in. I don't have any smaller funnels right now. I do in storage, but not really willing to go and look for them. So I took a coffee filter and just taped it and cut out the bottom so that I can put it inside my funnel, and then it automatically just kind of slides in there and fits inside the jar. And that's how I'm going to get my powder in there. Alright, so now that I can breathe again, the next thing on my list is to make a plum preserve. I was gifted some plums from a friend, and there's quite a few of them. So the first thing that I need to do is get them cut in half and pitted, and then measure them out. This recipe that I have calls for 5 cups of plums and 4 cups of sugar and 1 cup of water. So this recipe is good because it doesn't require any pectin. The plums have natural pectin in it, and it should thicken up on its own. It needs to get to a gel stage after boiling for so long. The other thing is that these plums, the recipe that I found comes from the Complete Book of Home Preserving from Ball. It's a book that I find a lot of my recipes in, and it seems to be really helpful. Now, I looked online, and there was a bunch of recipes that said the same thing, and what's really good about this recipe is that I only have to pit them. I don't have to peel the skins off. So I've never tried this before, so we're gonna see what happens and go from there. So now that this is brought up to a boil and all my sugar is dissolved, it says in the recipe to increase the heat so that it comes to a hard boil. Alright, so it's been boiling pretty hard now for quite a while. This does take a while if you're not going to use pectin, because you really need to let it get to that gel stage, which is essentially a temperature of 220. So let's take a look at this. It's pretty. It's got a really pretty color to it. Most of the skins have broken down. There's still some big ones in there, but we're gonna let that keep going. It's got a really pretty color to it. And I also, just to double check, because I have to keep stirring this too so it doesn't stick to the bottom, but I also have my thermometer here, and if we look at this, I don't know if you guys can see that, we're just about at 214, so not quite there yet. We're going to keep stirring and let it come up to a temperature of 220. It says to do the next test to take a cold metal spoon and dip it in the boiling liquid, and it should fall off the spoon in kind of like a sheet. So let's take a look at what we have. We still got dripping, but it's definitely sticking to this spoon. So I know we're almost there, but just a little bit longer. Alright, so if you guys look at this, most of all of the peels have broken down. It's a beautiful color. There's some chunks of fruit in there with some peels. That's gonna make a beautiful preserve. All right, gotta keep stirring. All right, I think we have it. It's coming off and sheet-like, coats the spoon pretty well. And when I stir, you can definitely tell that it's much thicker. So I am gonna go get my jars out of the canner. I'm gonna get my jars out of the canner, and when I come back, we'll get this jarred up and we'll get it processing. Alright guys, the plum preserve has processed, and I've already taken it out of the canner and it's sitting on the counter here so that it can all cool off. I came out with 12 jars. Now I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I did a double batch. Because it didn't call for pectin, it was easy to do the double batch. So I probably used 10 cups of plums and 8 cups of sugar with 2 cups of water. So that's pretty much the recipe. But I also ended up with 13 jars. So this one is almost cooled off, but it's been sitting inside, so it's not as hot as the ones that just came out of the canner. But I just wanted to show you guys. This is what the preserve looks like. It'll probably be a little tiny thicker when it gets refrigerated and it's fully cooled, but at least we'll be able to put a jar in our fridge and try it right away. I do take a couple of these and put them on my shelf in my pantry for our stock, and then the rest of them I sell at the market. Alright, so it's about 5:30 right now. It's been a really long day, and I think I'm gonna end it here. I will see you guys on the next one, but also thanks for following along and spending the day with me. Much appreciated. I do love that you guys are commenting. If you have any other comments, that would be great, and we'll try to get to those as soon as we can. Thanks guys. Bye.